Week 9 of The Bachelor all wrapped up. We have fantasy suites this week. I just kind of noticed one little thing is we have 3 women left. At the start of the season, Hannah Ann was involved in all the drama. And then Victoria F took over. She was involved in all that drama, the Chase Rice, the disastrous hometown. And now all the drama for the rest of the season seems to be focused around Madison. So it's very nice to see that our 3 women all took a turn doing what Peter loved the most. And you know that he is fueled by drama. So there's only one possible outcome to this season. Peter is picking Madison. She is the now new drama queen of the Bachelor season, and she is taking Peter's heart home. What a weird fantasy suite week. We open up with Madison pulling Peter aside and attempting to tell him that if he sleeps with someone else that she's going to leave, except she doesn't actually ever say that. And Peter's like trying to coax it out of her and like repeatedly says, "Are you saying that if I sleeps with somebody else you're done?" And she just doesn't really respond. It was a very weird conversation. And then we go to Australia for our fantasy suite week, and all 3 women are staying together. Like, what was that about? The Bachelor producers have like sabotaged this entire season, and now we just see them further sabotage the fantasy suites. Like, normally after hometowns, you don't see the other contestants until the final 3 rose ceremony. Like, you don't even see them in the final 2 rose ceremony because those are always separate. So to have all 3 of those women staying together when, they're going to be having sex with Peter in the fantasy suite, presumably, and one of them has made a big deal about saving herself for marriage. So obviously that was very staged and almost felt malicious by the producers, and I didn't like it one bit. Even though the morning after scenes were kind of amazing, it just is not, it shouldn't be the goal of this show to manufacture as much drama as possible. We should be trying to find Peter's soulmate, and the focus of this season has just not been on that. So let's get back to our fantasy suite dates. First up, we had Hannah Ann. They had a nice little date. One really interesting moment that I saw was Hannah Ann was kind of sort of saying to Peter, it's okay if you don't pick me and then change your mind later and come back to me. It seemed like she was trying to say that to him. And I don't know if that was exactly the case, but I really got that vibe that she was just laying it out there like, hey, it's all right for you to make the wrong decision and then come back to Hannah Ann. And at this point, I probably would prefer to see them as the final 2 couple. I know that's not going to happen since Peter has Madison fever at this point, but they do kind of almost seem like the best couple. What we've seen from Victoria this season has just been not good. It has not been good. Anytime that there's an issue, she either doesn't say anything or gets up and just runs away. And we've seen that over and over all season long, except for the runway day, which was ridiculous. Like, do you remember that back at the start where Victoria was this meek, quiet, shy girl? That lasted about 4 weeks? And like, she's not even the same person anymore. But their date actually went pretty well. They did still have a conversation where issues came up and Victoria still didn't really answer any of Peter's questions, but Peter considered that a huge win for whatever reason. He seems fairly oblivious to what he wants or how people should act in a relationship. So good on you, Pete. It's going to be interesting. And like, it seemed like they actually took steps forward in their relationship by just having Victoria not run away during a conversation. And let's get back to the star of our show today, Madison. So we've had this ongoing story with her now about her saving herself for marriage and being a virgin and having not shared that with Peter before the final three. So we can see her just stewing over this all week long because they have all three women living together for the week. And every time we have one of those awkward morning afters, like you can just see like it's almost like she wants to know, like, did you sleep with him, just so that I don't even know, so she can leave or what. It was very confusing. And my favorite part was it's Hannah Ann and Madison when Victoria's off getting ready for her date, and Madison really lays out, like, if he slept with another woman, I couldn't stay here. And she's saying this to the woman that Peter most likely just slept with. Like, I was laughing out loud. I was like, this is hilarious. Like, do you not realize who you're talking to right now, Madison? Like, if you got to say that, go have a confessional. Don't say it to the person who most likely just slept with him. Like, that's absurd. So back to their date. Madison and Peter climb up this big building, and it's so exhilarating for Madison. She suddenly realizes that she's falling in love with Peter. Now, just a friendly reminder, at this point, both Hannah Ann and Victoria have said that they are in love with Peter. Not falling in love, they are straight up in love with Peter. So we're at Fantasy Suites, and Madison is just getting to the falling in love stage of The Bachelor. So they get to the night portion, and of course, it comes out that Peter has slept with at least one other woman. We don't know which, we don't know who. I'm going to say he probably slept with both of them, just because why would he sleep with one and not the other? I mean, he's Peter. We saw he had sex 4 times with Hannah. I think he's probably eager to have sex at least twice on his season. It only makes sense, right? Be the first ever person to have sex more times on a season they weren't the lead on, than has ever happened before. So I guess that's a Bachelor first. And we get to the end. Peter and Madison have their conversation. Madison is conflicted. She wants to stay, but I mean, Peter did do the one thing that she said she would leave if he did. And the end result is we see her walking away, and that's the end of the episode. The preview that we got this week seemed very much to say to me that the entire rest of the season is going to be about Peter chasing after Madison. Didn't really seem like there was any other outcome there. When Madison walks away and Hannah Ann and Victoria are waiting at the final 3 rose ceremony, and Peter's just not showing up. Like, what else are they supposed to expect? And where else is this season going to go? So now we have, I really am not rooting for Peter anymore. In my opinion, like, he's been the worst Bachelor that I've ever seen. I know a lot of people say Juan Carlo is the worst of all time, but I never saw him. I never saw his season. I started watching after that. So for me, Peter is easily the worst Bachelor or Bachelorette I've ever seen. And honestly, I'm not interested to see if he falls in love. I'm not interested to see the conclusion of the Peter and Madison story. I do want to see the women tell all. I think that's next week. And I did find one very disappointing piece of information, and that's Kelly is not going to be there. Kelly was not invited to the women tell all. I think that's very silly of The Bachelor. She was one of the most popular people and gone. But that's it for me. I will be back next week. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.